Kain naman ng resolusyon si Senator Laila de Lima para paimbestigahan sa Senado ang legalidad ng pagpasok ng Pilipinas sa mga kasunduan kasama ang ilang Chinese company. Ayon kay de Lima, dapat malaman kung ano ang terms ng kasunduan ng Pilipinas at China tungkol sa mga proyekto sa Pilipinas. Kahapon, nagbabala si Kabayan Party List Representative Harry Roque laban sa mga kaduda-duda o manong kumpanyang Chino na kasamang pumirma sa Memorandum of Understanding. Isa sa mga kumpanyang ito ang China Communications Construction Company o CCCC. Ang naturang kumpanya ay na-blacklist na raw ng World Bank matapos umanong masangkot sa anomalyang subsidiary nito na China Road and Bridge Corporation. Sa pang Memorandum of Understanding na pinirmahan sa China ay kaugnay naman ng Cebu International and Bulk Terminal Project. Pinirmahan ito ng isang Pilipinong kumpanya at CCCC dredging company na minsan ang napabalita nakasama raw sa mga gumawa ng artificial island ng China sa pinagagawang teritoryo sa South China Sea. Sinusubukan pa naming kunin ang panig ng administrasyon tungkol dito.
Dumadaan din yan sa public bidding. The fact may mga pinangalanan ng mga ilan-ilan na ng mga Chinese firms and may mga in-identify na sila na mga projects. And hindi ako, I'm willing to bet na baka may mga tied loans na naman yan. So in other words, yung pinapautang sa atin ay hindi naman sa atin talaga. Kundi doon maibibigay, kundi mapupunta doon sa kung sino man yung contractor or supplier. And this kaya yan ang essence ng tied loans, and tied loans are unconstitutional.
Ma'am, kahit ho terminated na yung hearing sa House, ongoing pa rin yung manhunt operations against Ronnie Dayan. At ang latest report from 100,000, nag-increase na sa 200,000 yung reward money para sa ika-aresto Ronnie Dayan. May mga, wala na ho kayong communication?
No, I have no communication with him. Mula nung sinabi ko noon, it was 2 weeks before remember that press con sa Quezon City, yung Kamuning Bakery. Yun, that was the last communication. Although there have, sa kanya, through the cell phone. Although there was about 1 or 2 instances na yung anak niya nag-text din sa akin and sinasabi nga na nahihirapan na ang kalagayan ng papa nila dahil nagtatago. But I don't know where he is. I didn't know where he is and I don't know where he is now.
Ma'am, but do you have any concern considering na 200,000 na yung reward money na malamang maglagay pa sa kanya in danger?
Well, that has always been yung apprehension niya at ng family niya na under constant danger siya. Because even before nga yung house inquiry, ganun na yung mga dumadating na impormasyon sa kanya. Yun ang sinabi niya sa akin during that last communication with him 2 weeks before that press con. Ay may mga information siya na talaga nire-raid siya sa bahay at meron mga papalabasin na meron siyang mga mga firearms siya. And then aarestuhin siya. And then pipilitin siya na maging state witness against him. And worse, meron din apprehension na baka patayin siya. So yung sinabi niya sa akin during that last communication with him. So that is why he said, talagang magtatago ako kung ganyan ang gagawin nila sa akin. Na i-raid ako, i-arestuhin ako, plaplantahan ako, o tataniman ako ng mga firearms. And then worse, pipilitin siya, i-coerce din, katulad ng mga ibang nag-testify. For example, si JB Sebastian, si Jonel Sanchez. Alam ko naman na mga napilitan lang sila. Ganun din ang gagawin sa kanya because there are many ways to coerce a witness, to convince a witness to lie, even under oath. It could be through threat, physical safety, threat of, may gagawin sa kanya, o ibla-blackmail, kung meron mga makitang kasalanan, ibla-blackmail, and in exchange for immunity, pipilitin na mag-testify against me. So ganoon din bro ang balak gawin sa kanya. Kaya hindi ho natin siya masisisi kung hanggang ngayon ay ayaw pang magpakita. At isa pang dahilan, pakiwari ko lang po ito, siguro alam din niya, naiisip din niya, katulad ng iniisip ko, na baka naman ang gagawin sa kanya kapag ma-appear siya o nag-appear siya sa House inquiry ay hindi na. Do you think they would genuinely look into the so-called proliferation of drugs dyan sa House inquiry na yan? I think the real target lang there is to just further vilify me personally, is to just further downgrade or to further destroy yung character or reputation ko. In other words, pagpipiestahan lang siya dyan sa House inquiry na yan, pipilitin siguro na papaaminin na merong so-called sex video and all that. So just again, to further the agenda of the President, talagang sirain ako at sirain ang pagkatao ko at sirain ang pagkababae ko. So siguro yun ang naiisip niya aside from yung threat sa kanya. Kaya hindi siya, ayaw niyang lumitaw.
Okay, Tara, and then from Channel 4, and then Cecil.
Yes, Tara.
First, do you feel na after the House group and the filing of the charges, do you somehow feel that the worst is over? Or
I don't know if the worst is over. I've always been preparing myself psychologically for the worst, whatever is the worst. Although, sa tindi ng mga ginawa na sa akin, sa tindi ng mga paratang nila sa akin, sa frequency ng pagbibilify sa akin by no less than the President and also some of his men, what more can they do to me? Yun na lang ang iniisip ko. So nothing shocks me anymore. The worst thing, of course, would be to completely eliminate me from the face of the earth. But sana hindi naman nila isipin yan or gawin yan. That is the worst thing, of course.
follow up lang, yung sa legal team, you had said before that you're planning to include the President in the suit. Have you discussed that with the team? I mean, the feasibility of it, and are you really going to pursue that?
Definitely. That one is settled already. Yung mga kaso na ipa-file kasama ang Pangulo. Because he's on top of all this. Kagagawa niya to lahat. Do you think sila Secretary Aguirre, yung mga investigador sa NBI, yung mga agents sa ISAF, yung mga congressmen sa House, lalo na yung sa House Committee, yung mga nag-actively participate in vilifying me publicly on national TV, si Speaker Alvarez, the committee chair, my fraternity brother, and the godfather of my eldest son. Do you think they will do all this kung hindi yan ang kagustuhan ng Pangulo? Of course not.
Ma'am, when do you plan?
Principal respondent ko palagi sa mga kasong ipa-file ko. But as to exactly what are the causes of action, hindi ko pa ho pwede yan i-disclose because my lawyers do not want me to do that prematurely.
Pero you mentioned Amparo and habeas data.
Nasabi ko na yan, but I won't further confirm it.
And may pa-file po kaya yan?
Yes. Yes. It's sooner than you think. Okay.
Okay, from Channel 4.
Ma'am, reaction niyo lang po, right, nasa DOJ po ang VACC filing for supplemental evidences against you.
Bring them on. Ano na naman ba yan? Supplemental? Sana naman kaya nila napulot ang mga so-called evidence na naman. Because, I've not seen the first complaint file kasi wala pa nga ako natatanggap anything. And from media reports, the basis of that original complaint was yung mga so-called testimonies na yan dyan sa House Inquiry. So, kung supplemental complaint yan, probably meron silang nakalimutan, inaisama sa una, o kaya maybe new so-called witnesses or new so-called evidence. So I really do not know. Pero tingnan nyo who are behind the ACC. And tingnan nyo kung sino yung mga abogado na nag-a-assist sa kanila. You would see the connection. And you would see na, kasi nga yung dati ko na hong sinasabi, hindi ko alam po kung natatandaan nyo po ito, na since alam nyo naman ng ating Pangulo, meron talagang dinidibdib na personal vendetta against me since 2009. So here he is, naging Pangulo, vindictive as he is, kaya pagkataon niya ito na balikan ako. And then there are other personalities who are just too happy that they have a president like that who is hell-bent in destroying Laila de Lima. And therefore, they are exploiting that part of the president, that weakness in the character of the president of being vindictive, to their own benefit also, to serve their respective agenda. And I'm referring to those other personalities, especially the powerful ones, na mga natapakan ko po nung ginagawa ko yung trabaho ko as Secretary of Justice. Alam nyo naman po kung ano yung mga high-profile cases na yan na hinandle ko. And then some people keep on blaming me until now dun sa pagharang ko nung lalabas ng bansa yung dating Pangulo. Di ba? They always say that. And even the President is now saying, na nung sinabi niya na I will suffer now the same fate of that former President, GMA. In other words, I will be locked up in jail and rot in jail. Those are the exact words of President Duterte. Dahil nga magkakakampi na sila ngayon. May mga political alliances sila. GMA forces. And then yung mga PDAF senators. Alam ko meron silang mga tao na mga inuutusan dyan to also make my life difficult. Kaya tingnan nyo yung mga personalidad na yan. Yung mga nag-a-assist. Nung nag-assist kay Secretary Aguirre in the course of the House Inquiry. Sino ba yung mga nag-briefing dun sa mga convicts na mga nag-testify against me? Sino ba yung mga nagre-represent sa kanila? May abogado dyan na alam ko, dating abogado ng dating Pangulo, and even for the powerful religious bloc. Alam nyo naman po siguro kung ano yung religious bloc na nagalit din sa akin noon. So itong mga ito, these are the forces na may alliances na sila ngayon with the President, nakapasok na sila sa Pangulo, naka-access na sila sa kanya politically, and therefore ginagamit nila yung galit sa akin ng Pangulo para tulungan ng Pangulo for their own respective agenda, which is also to get back to me. Payback time nasa isip nila.
So you're
And why? And why is that? For simply doing my job as then Secretary of Justice. And when I raided, believe it, I was also doing my job. Pero bakit binabaliktad na nila ngayon lahat? So look at the situation. Is there anything fair? Is there anything just in what they're doing to me? Because as I've been telling you, up to my last breath, I will maintain and profess innocence because that is the truth. I have nothing to do
So
with
you,
the drug trade, either within or outside Philippines.
so Senator, you're explicitly saying na even GMA is behind all this.
I think so.
Who else,
Tingnan
ma'am?
nyo, the fact na ISAF is also actively involved in getting those so-called evidence, convincing those so-called witnesses in turning against me. And sino ngayon ang National Security Advisor? Analyze all of those things.
Okay, Cecil?
I'm going back to Ronald, kasi yung family niya has told him to service, especially this not, he hasn't done anything wrong. He also believes the same, and he has been
It's his personal decision. It's his personal decision. Hindi ko siya i-influensahan siya dyan because in the first place, I don't even know where he is now. There's zero communication already from him. Let him decide for himself. Pero yan ang nababasa ko rin kasi sa kanya. Aside from yung takot niya, and then that's it. Yung naiisip niya na what good will it do? Na pagpepiestahan lang siya doon. Or worse, papaaminin lang siya bago siya ipresenta doon. Baka i-interrogate siya. Katulad ng mga ginawa nila kay Sebastian at kay Sanchez, na ultimately napilit nila na magsinungaling. Baka ganun din ang gawin sa kanya. Na ituturo na naman ako.
So in case na ma-arrest, so you're not confident na he will not testify against you?
I really do not know. The whole point of getting him through this so-called arrest warrant is precisely to force him to turn against me. I don't want that. What is the whole point of all these efforts? Tapos na naman dapat yung house ko na eliminate na. So kung may mga kasong ipa-file na, i-file na nga yung mga kaso. I think respondent din siya sa kaso na yan na final sa DOJ. So para interesado sila ngayon na kunin siya. Saka na lang, later na lang, kung meron ng tunay na warrant of arrest, prescinding from any proceedings after the DOJ or after the Ombudsman. But not yung but not in connection with the House inquiry. Kasi what is the whole point na naman? Para lang idagdag uli, dagan uli, yung panggigipit sa akin. The whole point.
Ma'am, bukod dun sa GMA forces, sino pa yung mga powerful personalities na sa tingin nyo behind dito sa mga harassments against you?
Maybe one or two of the PDAF senators. I received the information also, but of course I cannot validate conclusively.
Yung mga nakadetain, ma'am, ngayon? Nakalayan.
One or two PDAF senators.
Okay, Tara.
Baka hindi naman tatlo. Baka hindi yung lahat na tatlo. Baka dalawa lang, isa o dalawa lang. Based on my own information, but as I said, I cannot validate fully or conclusively. Kasi even nung sa confirmation hearings ko, sa commission on appointment, yung isang nag-oppose sa akin doon at nagbanta rin na ipalabas daw yung alleged sex video, alam ko na ginamit yun ng isa sa kanila doon sa tatlong centers. Because yung character na yan, hindi naman talaga yan gagalaw, hindi naman talaga yan magaganyan kung walang gumagamit sa kanya. Because mercenary siya. I don't have to name. I think you know.
Okay, Tara.
Ma'am, from another matter, yung report about the Chinese firms that are banned by the World Bank. I understand you're going to file a resolution along that line.
Yeah, I intend to file a resolution on that. Parang parallel din, some sort of commentary to the one filed by Senator Bam Aquino. Di ba si Senator Bam, which the rest of us supported, I mean the LP bloc senators supported, yung calling for an inquiry, a hearing to clarify itong mga deals na ito. Yung mga in-announce nilang deals and under the foreign policy also. Yung pronouncements ng Pangulo nung nandun siya sa Beijing. So what are the ramifications of that? Diplomatically, militarily, economically. Now, yung sa akin naman, kasi the fact may mga pinangalanan na mga ilan-ilan na mga Chinese terms and may mga in-identify na sila na mga projects. And hindi ako, well, I'm willing to bet na baka may mga tied loans na naman yan. Oo, pinapautang tayo ng isang foreign government, pero sila ang merong karapatan na pumili, bibigyan. So in other words, pinautang sa atin ay hindi naman sa atin talaga, kundi doon maibibigay, kundi mapupunta doon sa kung sino man yung contractor or supplier. And these kinds ng tied loans, and tied loans are unconstitutional and illegal under our laws. Kasi, unang-una, ay kailangan klaro na dapat dumadaan din yan sa public bidding or any other procurement process recognized under our own law, specifically the procurement law, the Government Procurement Reform Act. The fact na executive agreement yan, kasi baka yun ang gagawin nila, na justification that it is an executive agreement and therefore pwedeng hindi na dumaan sa tamang proseso under domestic law, ay hindi po yan sapat na dahilan. I can only refer you to the dissenting opinion of Justice Carpio doon sa NBN-ZTE case. Ang sabi ni Justice Carpio, tied loans are unconstitutional, lalo na kapag hindi dumadaan sa public bidding, lalo na kung walang appropriation law, and kapag walang appropriation cover, certificate of appropriations and availability of funds. These are mandatory requirements. At sakop sa mga requirements na yan, even mga foreign funded projects. So itong mga intended projects nila, is 13 billion or 24 billion dollars. So we expect this to be foreign funded by China, Chinese government, or any instrumentality or entity. Pero, malamang nga, ang mga contractor din, ang mga supplier din, ng mga projects na yan, would be Chinese firms. So, tied loans. And so, kailangan i-scrutinize mo natin. So, I join the call of Senator Ping Lacson na kailangan tingnan yan ng maigi. Alamin ano yung mga background ng mga projects na yan. Ano na yung mga pinaka-status? MOU pa lang ba? And even if it's just MOU, MOU is the first step. A memorandum of understanding is the first step towards the appropriate project or the execution of the appropriate contract, whether it's a supply contract, loan agreement, or both. So kailangan busisiin ng gusto po yan. Because ano yan dyan din ang mga nagiging ugat ng mga corrupt practices.
Yung resolution mo, is it also going to call for an investigation or call on Malacanang, just like Senator Big said?
We're still crafting it.
Okay.
We're still crafting it. It is an inquiry into those intended projects. Yes.
Sa nare-refer?
I wouldn't know yet. We're still drafting it. It's still in the process. It's a work in progress, but we hope to file it by next week.
Senator Trillanes filed resolution asking for Senate inquiry para dun sa involvement ng mga pulis sa extrajudicial killings. May necessity pa ba to conduct separate investigation on this o na-cover na huwin din yun ng hearing ng Committee on Justice and Human Rights?
It really depends on the final form of the committee report, on the scope, on the findings and recommendations in the committee report from the EJK hearings, that is the Committee on Justice and Human Rights, and jointly with the Committee on Public Order and Illegal Drugs. Depende yan. Pero naintindihan ko yung perspective ni Senator Trillanes because proceedings, kahintay, nakaabang na